Okay. It's recording. Cannot believe. Whoa, feels so weird. Cannot believe I'm finally doing this. All right. Hello. My name is Justin Ahmad, and welcome to Ahmad Abroad. Claps, claps, claps. Yay, yay, yay. All right. So, some of you do know what this podcast is about, meaning maybe three people. That's the only sum. And a lot of other people may have just stumbled upon it, but yes. So to reiterate, my name is Justin Ahmad, and as the title, you know, infers, um, I am moving abroad. Well, I should say I'm moving back abroad. It's a long, long, long story, which is another reason why I really feel like I need to do this podcast. And it's crazy and it's almost embarrassing to say how long this podcast has been in the making. Um since 2017. Um which is really crazy. And that was the first time that I went abroad. That's the first time I moved abroad. In September 2017, I moved to China to teach English. And I was there for almost 3 years. And then I came back because of COVID, that dreaded word. Yeah. Yeah, just like everyone else's life, in 2020 was either upended or somehow affected in some way or another. Mine was, and I was thrust back across the world, back to America. And it was honestly talk about reverse culture shock. So yeah, there's just a lot to talk about. But initially, I just want to say that this podcast is gonna be so much different, so many different things. Okay. So I don't even know what it's gonna completely even be. One of the reasons, full transparency, why it took me so long to even actually, I did record a podcast and it was just it just wasn't, no, it was boring. I feel like I was trying to be someone else, and I just have to be authentically me. It's very vulnerable to be doing this, but that's that. Also, excuse my voice. Yesterday was my birthday, and I don't know why today of all days I decided to just go ahead and sit down and record this podcast, but here we are. Here I am. Yeah, just it's gonna be a lot. Gonna be about me traveling, gonna be about my process of going over there because that is something that I get all the time, obviously, because there is no one in my immediate life or friend group that's ever like moved abroad to teach. Um and how some people don't even know that, didn't even know that I had um a TEFL certification. I actually have two TEFL certifications to be able to teach English as a foreign language. So yeah, there's just a lot of different things that I'm just gonna cover. It's gonna be some random things. Um but mostly about my adventures abroad, and just like how life is just really, really crazy. And I wish I had a podcast like this. So I think that's one of the things I think the reason why people create, right? Is because you see a void in whatever you do. And you unfortunately, not unfortunately, but you have to do it sometimes because you just don't have something. It could be art, it could be a podcast, it could be a book. And you write that book, you do the podcast or what have you. And then, yeah, don't know where I was going with that, but here we are. So, to start out with the biggest thing that I really want to cover today is if you can remember, I said I used to live in China and now I am moving back to China. So there have been 5 years between the time I moved back to China, excuse me, moved back to the United States from China to now. And I will be hopping on a plane next week. So, yeah, it's really, really, everything is moving fast. However, I have to say it's moving fast now because I want to talk about the process of moving abroad just because it's just something that a lot of people don't normally just do. It's not something that you allow this is it's just not something a lot of people do. A lot of people know about, I think. And it's hard to explain. Like, of course, a lot of people do it. If people didn't do it, I wouldn't know about it. Um, but it seems like a lot of the stories are just so isolated and they're so varied. And it's one of those things is I could talk until I literally am out of breath about how it is to live abroad. It's literally one of those things you won't really fully grasp it or even know until you actually do it. So, yeah, so let's go all the way back. And I mean back. It's crazy. It's 2025. But let's go all the way back to 2015. That is the year that I graduated college. I graduated with a bachelor's degree in sociology. Shout out to my sociology freaks because sociology is a passion of mine. And I'm really glad that I was able to do that. Also, if you hear birds, the birds be birding. So that's that. So yes, I graduated in 2015 with a degree in sociology. Had no idea what I wanted to do. Um, I felt like the rug was literally just ripped off from under me when you're thrust into this world that is just, I don't know, at the time in 2015 I was just like, what, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I really didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't know if I wanted to go to continue grad school. um and honestly, I wanted to do that and I did dabble into that because I did eventually um enter a grad program for sociology education. But once again, I just didn't want, it just didn't feel right. It just did not feel right. Um, and so 2016, I moved in with my best friend and her sister in Charlotte, North Carolina. So yeah, that was fun. That was really, 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 really fun. Um, one of the most fun times of my life, honestly. Just carefree, carefree, carefree. Oh, to be that carefree again. But yes, so moved there in 2016. Still didn't really know what I wanted to do because obviously the job I was working at was not the job that I saw myself staying at for a long time. So, and as I'm talking about this, I really wish I could remember initially how me and my best friend got onto it, but um we were just like, let's move abroad. Like let's get our TEFL and let's move abroad. Like people are doing it. We can look up this research, do our research, and everything, and let's get the ball rolling. Like because at the time, like we were just, honestly, I think also, I think something, I can't remember. I think something was happening too politically, to be honest. But I don't know. Anyway, besides that's besides the point, because I think at the time, like we were just go no matter, we were gonna go no matter what, because we just wanted more. I think that's really what it was. So um yeah, so we went with that, and we were like, okay, we're gonna do our research and do everything. I found it's so funny because I found my our courses to take, to become a foreign teacher to teach English on Groupon, y'all. Groupon. Do not sleep on Groupon. And this is not a paid whatever ad sponsor. No. It's just they actually do have some really crazy, seems outrageously fake deals, but they are actually legit. So I received two certifications at the end of my course. Um, and it's equivalent to 160 hours, which to go to China specifically, a lot of places are 120 hours and up. So, yes, if I'm not mistaken, at the time, I think I paid less than $20. I really, truly, it was no more than 25. I remember. And I was like, wait, this cannot be real. And actually, recently, I went on there just to see if the program that I went through was still on Groupon. And it is. And they actually offer more things now, which is great. But yes, it's a legit program. And I know, like, we're in the age of online. And even that was back in 2016. Yes, that was back in 2016. Um, and so yeah, we're in the age of online. So anyway, so yeah, so fast forward, we take the course. It was pretty straightforward. You go through everything that you have to go through to the different modules. I can't remember how many it was. You do a final lesson plan, you do different assignments in between also. You do testing in between, you do a big test, multiple choice, and your lesson plan, you submit it, and then they send you your certificate, your digital certificate, or you can get a hard copy. I got a digital, two digital certificates, and that was like pretty much it. And so then after that, that was the easy part. And I have to emphasize, me in particular, my naivety with going, my naivety throughout this entire like process, the first time I went to China, blows my mind when as I'm recalling it, and as I have in the past, because I did my research to see like what I would need to get to go abroad. And the TEFL was the first thing. China was not the second. So let's dive into that. Okay, so remember, my friend and I um were going to go together. That was the plan. We were going to go together. So I did what any millennial would do when you find something out exciting and you want to know more about it, go to YouTube. Okay? Go to YouTube. I am a YouTube person. Yes, go to YouTube. So go to YouTube. I'm searching, and I'm like, okay, cool. There's some jobs. A lot of South Korea is popping up. So let's think about South Korea. So come across this South Korea program, Epic. If anyone has ever researched going abroad, you have heard of Epic. EPIK. It's like this whole international educational ministry thing that South Korea has. So basically, they recruit teachers for their schools that they have there. So we apply. We had to do so much. And I remember at the time, mind you, during all of this, this is months. Because if I'm not mistaken, we started our TEFL course, I think it was summer of 2016. Yes, summer of 2016. And I didn't even leave to go to China until the next year. So that's why I'm saying there's a lot of moving parts to it, but I digress. So yes, so we applied for um we applied to go to South Korea to teach. We had to have recommendations. We had to do applications. If I'm like a I think it was a written application if I'm not mistaken. I think we also had to submit our transcripts, our college transcripts. Um so we did all of that. Long process. And then they come back and they say that we were not accepted. And we were like, "Wait, what do you what do you mean?" Like we did all of this, we did like it was like an interview process, and like it was literally like they literally like were vetting for us, and like it seemed as though they were pushing for us to be successful and become a part of, being a teacher in South Korea. So that didn't happen. So when that didn't happen, we had to reevaluate, my friend and I, a lot of different things. So my friend ended up reevaluating it and deciding just that she didn't want to go abroad at the time, which is completely fine. I decided that that was something that I still wanted to pursue, just because there's something in me that I've always wanted to live abroad. I wish I could tell you what it was. It's just always been there. Um that I don't know if it's of because of my love of like TV period pieces or what, but I've just or the fact that I was never able to study abroad when I was in college, which really sucked at the time, but that's neither here nor there. But yes, so I decided that okay, like I'm gonna keep going. In the midst of this, my mother, um, I think not think I know for sure because she told me when she knew that I was going with someone else, she was like, okay, cool. When I let her know that I would be going by myself to a foreign country, because remember at the time, it was not China. I didn't know where I was going to be teaching English. I just knew that I had not worked that hard to like just not fulfill like this crazy dream of mine that I never really talked about with anybody, but it just so happened to come up when me and my best friend were talking about it. So yeah, so she was obviously hesitant. I mean, I'm an only child, and no matter what, it's wherever I go is it's going to be the distance. I'm not going to be in America. Like that's the I think that was the I don't know what you want to call it. The elephant in the room. Is that how if that I don't think that's right. Mm-mm. That don't sound right. But that's what it is. Like that's what it is. It is like at the end of this process, I was going to be getting on a plane and leaving the country for X amount of time. Um, and I don't know anybody abroad, so I was going to be going alone. And so yes, that was very, very that was scary all in itself, but I mean, I was like, okay, I'm ready. Like I'm it's so crazy when people ask like, are you not scared? It's like, I'm scared, but it's like or it's not it's a difference between like being like danger and fear. Like yeah, you just have to like look fear in the face a lot of times and just keep moving forward. Um because yeah, it's literally that saying like everything you want is on the other side of fear. Everything that you want is on the other side of fear. So anyway, so yes, mom. Okay, yeah, I'm going to move abroad by myself. Okay, cool. That is what that this is what I'm where I am, and this is 20 at the time. Now this is 2017. This is 2017, and I'm like, okay, the South Korea thing didn't work. Um, let's see about South America. So I'm putting in applications in South America. And I'm like, okay, let's see about I think I was thinking about like Italy. And then I would think I put in applications in I didn't do Japan. I didn't do South Korea again either. And then I did China. So I think I did South America. I can't tell you the country, and I can't tell you a particular country in South America, but I did South America. I did places in Europe, and oh, I did do different places in Asia. I did do Thailand, and then I did China. So basically, I did not, once again, my naivety throughout all of this is just pushing me forward. And I'm just like, la 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 la. All right, let me just do this. I'm like, I have my cover letter. I mean, because I will say, because of the slightly rigorous process of the South Korea Epic application, I had recommendations like on hand. I had a cover letter ready. That I could just tweak, depending on which country, because I mean, that's what you do. So I was basically just throwing stuff at the wall and just hoping that something would stick. And in the midst of this, I'm working full time and just increasingly just growing a hatred for the job that I had. And a lot of unfortunately a lot of us know how that is to have to work at a job and you just absolutely abhor it. It's just that's just something that's just all in itself. If you're a person that's ever done that, like claps because the resiliency and the gusto that takes is incredible. Okay. so so yes, I'm working full time. So the process for me, including to get the actual job offer, was from February of 2017 until June. Wait, either May or June of 2017. It's kind of fuzzy in my brain right now. But yes, that is how long the job search took initially. Um, I say initially because I am only going through my first time going over there right now. I will have to go through how it was for me to get back the second time around at another time. But right now, yeah, we're doing it. So, um, please stick with me because it's crazy, but it's a wild ride. But just please buckle in, tuck in. So from February to, let's say, June, from February to June, I'm job searching, job searching, job searching. China, okay, let's bring her in a room. Okay. China became my primary focus a couple of months into my job search because Asian countries already, oh yeah, I have to say, I did not, I did not look for jobs in like the UAE, the Emirates, because I don't have a teaching license. Full transparency. Not trying to lie to nobody. I have a teaching certification. A teaching license and a teaching certification are different. You can do the research, but they are different. And just for that particular region of the world, they prefer you to have a teaching license, because those jobs are mostly for international schools. Whereas for China, you can have your TEFL. Some places may require a teaching license, but a lot of places only just require at least a 120-hour TEFL, a bachelor's degree. A lot of places at the time said no experience needed. A lot of places said no experience needed. And this is for kindergartens, international schools, and training centers. And all of those have their own criteria and their own caveats, their own salaries, all of that. And I actually could maybe go into that because that is interesting. But yes, so China became my main focus because of a couple of different reasons. The pay is number one. China, compared to a lot of other Asian countries, were giving, I mean, it's crazy to say, like, some at the time, some teachers and even now are getting paid 4 to 5 times more than a Chinese citizen, which sounds bonkers, but it is true. Because of the low cost of living, the reason number two, the cost of living. So think about it, like you get like, not a, I don't say equivalent higher salary necessarily, but you have a good enough salary that you're getting to where the cost of living is low and you will be able to travel. Insert number three reason. Like, literally, I'm gonna be able to do those three. Those are my three top reasons for even wanting to move abroad in the first place. It's for job security, financial security, and to travel. So when I saw that China was like giving me everything that I wanted, I'm like, oh, okay. Never thought about moving to China a day in my life before I started this job hunting process. Never thought about moving to an Asian country. If anything, because me being American, I would think about moving to London or basically a English speaking country. But my naivety, once again, it's still there. I was like, wait, Justin, if you're going to be teaching English as a foreign language, it would make sense that you wouldn't be living in a country where English was the language. So you're probably not gonna be living in London or the UK. And so I don't know what my crazy ass was even thinking about in that sense, in that moment anyway. I don't have to drink some water. Okay, so yes. So yeah, that is that. So China is where everything was focused a couple months into the job search. At the time, this is 2017. I'm doing interviews on Zoom. I'm also extremely exhausted. So let me tell you why. Remember the job I don't like. Going to a job you just don't like is going to exhaust the hell out of you. Um, Also, I'm still continuing to live my best life because at the time I was 24, living in a nice city, living in an apartment with my best friend, and I'm very grateful to say that she's still my best friend to this day. And so live my best life, tired, and the time difference. Okay, the time difference. China is 12 hours difference. Okay, meaning if it's a Monday morning at 8:30 a.m., it is Monday night at 8:30 p.m. in China. Say it again. I'll do another example. If it is Tuesday night and it is 10 p.m. Tuesday night in America, in China, it is going to be Wednesday morning, 10 a.m. And also to insert this fact, that's only if I don't remember the daylight savings on off. I know it's spring forward, fall back. But whenever America does that weird thing that we're like only the one of the very few only countries that still do it. Even Arizona was like, fuck this. So yes. So I'm working a full-time job. I'm working a full-time job. And I'm not asking for a pity party, by the way. I'm just letting you know how how crazy things were at this time. So I'm working a full-time job. I'm working from I think my shift was 9:30 to 6:30. By the time I get home, settle down, okay, cool, it's about 8 o'clock. I am absolutely exhausted by 9 o'clock. A lot of the times I would have to be bright-eyed and bushy-tailed to have Zoom interviews because over there it would be their time because also another fun fact because China is so incredibly large, they're under one time zone. That's it. Because there would be so much confusion if China could not be like the United States where we have the different time zones. Like it would be total chaos. And the reason why it was total chaos at a point in time, and then they were like, no, we gotta go. Like we all gotta be the same. Like we all have to be on the same time. So it's really crazy. But so yes, so there will be times, and I don't even think I've ever mentioned this to anybody. There will be times where it sounds crazy. I would have so many interviews that I would have to cancel interviews. And I would be like, whoa, because it was that crazy thing where I'm like, wait, for the longest, I was getting nothing back. And when I say that, I mean I was getting nothing back because I wasn't fully putting my focus into China. These other countries just weren't trying to see me. They just weren't trying to see me. And I don't know if that was God guiding me to this country. I have no idea. So Yes. So there would be times where I would have interviews. I would try to always aim for an interview to be between 9 and 11. But even getting to 11 o'clock, it's so hard because, mind you, I have to do this interview full energy. Sometimes on these interviews, I would have to do a mock class. So that's that. Most of the times, the interviews lasted about 30 to 45 minutes. Um, but yeah, they were just it's hard. It was hard. It was honestly, and I was like getting to the point where I was like, okay, why the hell am I doing this? Why am I putting myself through the ringer to leave the country when I still don't even know if I'm gonna like it? Like there's so much that was going through my brain and just so much just there was a lot of negativity going through my brain, but it was only me. There was no one on the outside saying, you're not going to do it. You're not going to be able to do this, or you're not going to find a job, or, maybe you should just like rethink things. No, it was all internalized. So I still doing this job search, still doing this job search. And I came across a company, like a school that I really wanted to work for because of the benefit package that you got, the assistance that you got after you arrive in China, and it was a reputable school. So I was like, okay, I'm going to go for this. And also, they were on multiple continents, not just China. So that was another reason why I was like, okay, because I think they were actually founded, I think it was actually founded in Sweden. Um, which is funny, but yeah. So yes, so I do that process. I remember that interview like it was yesterday because I had to do another mock class. So that interview lasted about 45 minutes. And I think I would say maybe a week went by. And then I got an email saying, like, I got an email with the job offer and everything. So I'm like, okay, whoa, this is so crazy. I actually, of course, contingent. Um, because I know I keep saying it, but y'all, like, my naivety has yet to kick me in the ass. This whole process, it has yet to kick me in the ass. So it's coming, but so I remember this. It was just very, very emotional because I was like, okay, yay, like this is it. Like I am doing something that I actually put my mind to, and it's like I'm actually doing this shit. Like I don't know, like that was just how I felt. I felt like the world was, it sounds so cliche. The world was my fucking oyster, okay? The world was my oyster. I was like, I'm going to do this. So let's enter yeah, let's enter this paperwork because y'all y'all know that new emoji is like you just they that it's like it looks like so tired, like the eyes are like bad, it's just tired. That is how I feel when I think about the absurd amount of paperwork that is before me after I accepted that job offer. So it's all contingent because of various things that you still have to do to get into the country. Okay. So, basic, you need to have a 4-year degree, a clean criminal. like a clean record, no criminal record. I was gonna say a clean criminal record. That sounds so. I guess that I guess that does make sense. Yeah. So yeah, a clean record, no record available. Okay. Um, can't find her. So yeah, no record of crimes. Um, the TEFL 120 to 160. Well, 120 and up. I'll say that 120 and up. 120 hours and up, and that's it. It sounds so, so simple. And this is the reason why throughout this entire process, the beginning, I was like, la 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 la, oh, this is great. Yeah, this is great. Man, when I tell you, okay, let's start with the let's start with the 4-year degree. And it is specific. Um, However, side note, once I got to China, I did meet people that had teaching jobs, and they either A, did not have a degree at all, B, they were in the process of getting a degree, or C, they only had equivalent to what would be an associate 2-year degree. I will tell you now, 4-year is the only way they're going right now. That is it. That is it. So, yeah, so let's go back. So yeah, so you have to get your degree notarized within the state that it was conferred. And then you also have to get it apostilled, i.e., authenticated, and you have to get your FBI, you have to do an FBI background check. And then that background check from the FBI has to be authenticated as well. Um, yes. Um, yeah, the paperwork is just it's absolutely outrageous. So you're doing all of this, and mind you, I'm not getting I'm like all of there's so much money. Like my job did not pay for this. Another thing that I was just like, oh, okay. So yeah, they reimbursed me later, like much later. Full transparency, it was after my 1 year was over. And then my that was when I got reimbursed for that. So, yes. So all there's so much money, which is another thing, another reason why I'm doing this, because I want it to just be so transparent for people that may want to even think about it or know someone that is thinking about it. It is a costly fucking process. It is a costly process. You have to pay for because you have to think about, like, for example, I was in and out of the UPS store because I had to mail things off, get things copied, print things off. You have to, well, I had to go through a visa service. Now, there are many, 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 many different visa services available. Some people choose to not go through a visa service. I chose to go through a visa service because I wanted my stuff to be absolutely correct, absolutely accurate. And with the visa service, they do a pre check, which means for my FBI background check, before they helped me to get it authenticated, you send them a scanned copy of the things of your documents. They did the same thing for um, my bachelor's degree. You send them a scanned copy of things. They look it over, and they say, okay, cool, this looks good. Send it in. We can get you together. Um, and then the final process is mailing your passport off to get your entry visa put inside so you can actually even enter the country legally. or rather, at all. Because other countries such as South Korea or different South American countries or Canada, of course Canada, but we can just go. Like we don't have to do paperwork. We can just go. There's a lot of countries where we can just go. I think it's like over 130 countries where we can just go visa free. When we get there to their border, they stamp our visa. I mean, they stamp our passports with the visa, i.e., like saying your duration of your stay time. Um, so basically, for China, that's not available for what I was doing because I was going under a Z visa and there's many different visas available. I honestly think there's over 10 different visas you can get from China. And I have a Z visa because I was going to be working in the country, not just visiting. I didn't have a government job. I wasn't touring. I didn't have family there. I was literally there to work. So I had a work visa, which is also a Z visa. So if you, let me reiterate. All of these things are going on. I get the job offer in May. However, or was it June? We're going to say May, June. I think I remember May, June. However, I did not leave the country until September. Yes. So May, June is when I got the job offer and accepted it. I did not leave the country until September 2017. Once again, this is the reason why I'm doing this podcast. The amount of paperwork that you have to do does not come with a speedy process. It is the slowest, I would describe it as being the slowest game of relay that you will ever play in your entire life with documents. Because you send a document off and you have to wait a couple weeks. And when I say a couple weeks, there are things I waited for. Like, for example, this last time I had to get a duplicate copy of my bachelor's degree. It took 6 weeks just for them to bring me that back, just to send that back. 6 weeks. And that's like, that's a month and a half of just time. And time is of the essence because once you get your FBI background check, that is only good for 6 months after it is issued, not from the time it is authenticated. From the time it is issued is only good for 6 months. So, yes. So, yes. So between May, June until September, I had to get all of my paperwork together. I had to get my background check authenticated. I had to get my bachelor's degree authenticated. And I had to send my passport off because you send your passport off in this huge package. Because I got the job, you send it off in this huge package. You send it off to this visa service because of the state that I live in. My stuff has to go to the Chinese embassy in Washington, D.C. Because if I was able to actually go there myself, I would be able to go there myself. Which is interesting because I think I just had a conversation with somebody. They didn't know you could do that. Yes, you can just walk in there. I mean, literally, you can just walk there and it's fine. Most of the time, they don't even have, you don't have to do an appointment. Depends on the embassy, but the Chinese embassy, they literally told me you can just go. There's not going to be a wait time barely anyway. But I was like, no, I'm using a visa service. So yes, that's what the visa service does. Um, because of the time constraint, I chose to get my passport at the time expedited, which is more money out. However, my time when I accepted my job offer in May, June, I was supposed to land in China and start my contract in August of 2017. But because of the delay in the all the previous things, I was like, you know what? I'm still working. I have the money. Let's go ahead. And of course, my parents were with me. Thank God for that. Because they were like, why are you doing this anyway? Okay, whatever. We're going to help you. Very grateful for that. But it was still, it's mind blowing how much money like you have to put out and how much before you even land, before I even landed in the country. It's really, really, really bonkers. So, yes. So, let's fast forward. So, yes. Well, let's reiterate rather. Let's recap. So, everything is good to go by September the 1st. Everything is good to go. Okay? So, I've received my passport back with my entry visa, like the entry stamp inside. So, I'm good to go ahead and buy my plane ticket. I bought my plane ticket and then I flew out on September 11th, which it's eerie. I know. It's super eerie. It's super, super eerie. And I obviously did not plan it that way, but that's what happened. I mean, no spoiler alerts. The plane stayed in the air. So, um, yes, I did that and I went to China and I started my journey, or what I thought was going to be the happy start of my journey in China, until I got to China. And guess what, y'all? My phone did not work. So crazy. But yes, I am going to leave it at that. And I'm going to have to revisit this at another time because I already feel like I have blabbed everything for way too long. And if you are still rocking with me throughout all of that madness, thank you so much. Because, yeah, I didn't even know where I was going with that. But there is so much more to come. Like, there's so much more to come. But this is the first of many. I'm going to be talking about my trips abroad. I took multiple. But also me living abroad. Also, I'm getting on a plane and going back to China next week. So that's going to be another interesting thing. I will say I don't know the like episode thing, like how often I'm going to put them out. I don't know. I'm going to aim for once every 2 weeks though, but I'm not exactly sure. But yes, like I said, if you are still rocking with me, thank you so much. There's a lot to still go into. Um, if you haven't listened to Lord's new album, please give it a listen. She is on my neck currently. Um, it is literally my album of the summer. Anyway, thank you so much. Once again, this is Justin Ahmad, and you have been listening to these my crazy antics and processes that I'm going to be documenting on this podcast, Ahmad Abroad. Thank you so much for listening. Stay safe. Live your best life. That's about it. And I'll be back really, really soon because trust me, y'all, the trip has just begun. All right, y'all. Bye-bye.